What's going on, guys? I'm E, and this is Simply Put Scents. On this channel, I review and talk about some of the best and worst fragrances on the market, and at the end of the day, I hope save you time and money. So do hit that subscribe button because I do these videos weekly and I love what I do. In today's video, the second episode of Cut the Crap, I focus on different niche fragrances this time and call them out for their crap, as well as talk about what crap they need to cut. Now again, one man's crap is the next man's Kylie Jenner. I get it. So this is all subjective and me just venting my issues with some fragrance brands and the scents that they make. So if you're sensitive or you think that my comments are an attack on your taste.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Just click off this video now. No hard feelings. Again, this is just my opinions, not an attack on what you like. I mean, it's not like you made the fragrances. I mean, I don't even get why you'd be mad anyway, but if you feel some kind of way, sound off in the comment section and we can all vent together. I swear, guys, this series is gonna get me so banned from any future fragrance events or PR considerations from these companies. Yeah. Oh well, if they don't want to get judged, they shouldn't be releasing products, right? So let's go. From the house of Creed, Viking. Now Creed is an amazing brand that does really good but mostly light, freshy style scents. But honestly, guys, I felt Viking was a huge letdown. Not because of the smell. It's actually an interesting fragrance, but it didn't live up to the hype in my opinion. Especially after hearing about how amazing it was gonna be and how long it took to make it, you know, I was just hoping that Viking would be much more of a versatile scent. But it's all serious and kind of stuffy. I guess I was slipping a little bit when I thought that Viking would be, you know, a playful fragrance. I mean, after all, when you think of Vikings, you don't think of fun. But I don't even think a Viking would wear this. It's way too classy and stuffy. It's a men's fragrance, but there's nothing rugged about it to give it a name like Viking. You know what I mean? Very disappointing. But that price tag though.
You need to cut it. Your price is way too high. You need to cut it. Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it.
What kills me about Creed is how they're able to leverage their brand to convince the public to pay increasing prices for their scents. Cut the crap, Creed. $500 for Viking? Really? And then you release it to coincide with the repackaging of your fragrances to smaller bottles that went from like 4.2 ounces to 3.3 ounces. But that's not all. You low-key raise prices on all your fragrances because now the cost per mil of Creed fragrances is the highest it's ever been, even though your bottles are smaller than they've ever been. I mean, I get capitalism and all, but really, Creed? Really? Because you're Creed, people are supposed to pay more for less? Who do you think you are? Chanel? That Chanel playbook, boy, it's really catching on. You have to know that those tactics will just inspire more clones of your fragrances in the future, right? I mean, you already made cloning Aventus a worthy business venture. Club de Nuit Intense wouldn't exist today if there wasn't a such thing as smoky batches of Aventus. Batch inconsistencies and high prices for those better batches made selling clones of Aventus easier, and the incentive to clone your scents grows more with every price hike and or money grab idea like the decrease in bottle sizes thing. You know? Increasing your prices don't add to the exclusivity when people who pay nearly $500 with taxes on a 100 ml Creed scent smell similar to someone who paid $35 for a Creed wannabe, which actually lasts longer. I can't imagine that being a selling point to your high-end clients.
Forget about it. Forget about it. Paulie, forget about it.
Not at all. Now, I'm sure you guys did your research and figured the market could bear it, but the people who can't bear it are the sales reps at your boutiques and your retail partner stores, because more and more people will be buying Creed fragrances and their clones for less online. If I were you, I would think twice about your current strategy before the public replaces the C in your name with the G and it becomes a running meme. Just saying. From the house of MONTALE, Oud. Yeah, that's right, Oud. And you're probably thinking to yourself, E, which one? But see, that right there, that's the problem. I can understand if a fragrance brand makes a few Oud scents, but 44? That's right, guys. MONTALE has made over 120 fragrances since 2003, and 44 of those fragrances have the word Oud in the name. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Oud and I get what the MONTALE brand is about. The brand pays homage to Eastern perfumery. Many of their scents are actually very beautiful to smell, even if they're not the most refined. But 44 Oud fragrances in 15 years? Cut the crap, MONTALE. You guys are dragging the Oud thing a little too much now. I mean, we get it. You love Oud. But 44 fragrances with Oud in the name? Most niche brands don't even have 25 fragrances, and you have 44 with Oud in the name. I think y'all are running out of ingredients to add with Oud. Then what will you do for names? I swear if you guys come out with a scent called Oud, I'll be done with your house. I swear, for good. Oh my God. You guys pump out fragrances so fast that many scents come across rushed or uninspired. There's so many overlaps in your collection, it's ridiculous, really. And honestly, you can sometimes find superior Oud fragrances for much less from Versace. MONTALE, take your time. Focus on quality, not quantity, and pull back on the Oud dominant heavy fragrances for a while. Right now, your audience are seeing way too many repeats, and in business, when you offer too many similar options, you just confuse people and discourage sales. Years ago, I would see those color cans and I wouldn't even know where to begin. And that turned me off from trying MONTALE in the past. I would just skip them. It almost felt like it would be a chore to go through all those fragrances sometimes. And I know I can't be the only one who felt that way. From the house of Bond, New York Patchouli. So Bond decided to do a line built around single notes. New York Sandalwood, their latest offering from that line, actually smells really nice even if it's built on a really synthetic sandalwood. But New York Patchouli smells inexpensive, and it's not. The patchouli is in this fragrance, but not to the extent where you would expect the name of the scent to be named after it, you know? It's much more of a musky, woody scent than a patchouli scent. And that woody, musky base is a common feature in Bond fragrances. Now, I bet some of you think I'm gonna hate on Bond bottles, right? Well, nah, I like them. They're brash and in your face, but that's New York City for you. And I'm not even gonna get on Bond for the numerous alleged coincidences that so many of their scents smell like inspirations of designer fragrances. What I'm blown away by is how Bond, like Creed, leverages their brand to command such high prices on their fragrances. I mean, to get people to pay $300 for an improved version of Michael Jordan Legend takes a very well-built brand. Let's be real here. I mean, at least they did improve on the concept, but cut the crap, Bond. $360 for New York Patchouli? Really, Bond? You've earned a reputation like MONTALE for pumping out fragrances at breakneck pace, but unlike MONTALE, you also have a reputation for making some of the more wearable niche fragrances out. But the prices you charge for some of these designer-ish scents, they're a little extreme. And you also continue to raise your prices, Bond. In the past, people didn't look to Barn for scents with amazing quality. People go to Barn for uncomplicated, easy to wear fragrances and quirky bottles. But when your prices are as high as they're getting, quality of notes has to be a much bigger priority than the style of the bottle it's in. You guys can do better. By the way, cut the crap and re-release Andy Warhol. It may be the best fragrance your brand ever made. Discontinuing it is like Coca-Cola discontinuing Coke. Okay, so you can't use his name. Just release the formula over again and call it Greenwich Village. I'd pay $300 for that. And last but not least, from the house of KILIAN, Vodka on the Rocks. Vodka on the Rocks is a very inoffensive fragrance from the house of KILIAN. My first experience with it is fairly recent. I was in Saks a couple of weeks ago and I stopped by the KILIAN counter to smell it. And the main reason why is because I did a Fantastic Four live stream with my dudes Kevin Samuels, Big Beard, and Justin Copeland, and they talked about it and I couldn't really speak on it much because I had no clue what it was about. Yeah guys, I'm kind of late to the whole KILIAN parade, but I've always been a huge fan of Back to Black, so I was curious what a KILIAN Freshie would smell like. So while at Saks, I sprayed Vodka on the Rocks on a card, and I wasn't really blown away, but I thought it was actually kind of pleasant, even if it was pretty basic. So after talking to the sales rep, Diego Marino, he convinced me to try it on. This dude is good at what he does because normally I take a pass on that. I don't spray fragrances on skin for the first time off camera anymore, but I said screw it because I already knew I wouldn't really be buying it anyway, honestly guys, you know. So I was like, all right, whatever, bro, do your thing. Diego went to town spraying. You know how they do. It's all in the wrist. So anyway, he sprays the fragrance on my skin and I leave to walk to Barney's to smell more stuff. About an hour and change after having Vodka on the Rocks sprayed on me, I barely smelled it anymore.
Oh my God!
I mean, I'm talking about an hour, guys. And I made sure that my hand didn't brush up against anything. But for 15 minutes, I was indoors the whole time. It went straight to the dry down and into a skin scent territory within 80 minutes on my skin. We're talking Jimmy Choo man status. So you know where this is going, right? Cut the crap, KILIAN. How can you sell a 50 ml fragrance that has such low sillage, low projection, and horrible longevity with such little development for $195 or $295 with the coffin? That's wild, bro. That's really wild. Now, if it were groundbreaking or amazing or even an interesting scent that was weak, I think a lot of other people would probably overlook the limited longevity. But to my nose, Vodka on the Rocks isn't groundbreaking or amazing or interesting. It's actually on the poor to average side of niche perfumery. If it projected for at least 3 to 4 hours decently, it would be a much better purchase and not an insult to the KILIAN customer. Do you realize how frustrated so many of your clients must feel to pay what that scent costs only to have it fade away on the drive home from buying it? I realize that you can't charge less for scents because your brand has established a reputation and a rigid price point. But maybe having a standard that if you're going to release a scent at those price points, they should outperform Jimmy Choo for men. I think that would be a really good look. So there you have it, guys. Episode 2 of Cut the Crap. This time the niche edition. Again, this is just how I feel, not law. To me, niche fragrances should smell like they are worth their price, in my opinion. And I know this is all subjective, but too many niche brands get away with using very cheap ingredients while charging premium prices. And this isn't really fair to consumers at all. And I feel like if you're gonna charge a lot, you have to have a high standard for fragrances you sell under your name. I think that's all consumers can ask for. Anyway, what fragrances from niche brands do you think needs to be cut, guys? Sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Yeah, like this video if you think it deserves it, and subscribe to SimplyPut Scents again if you haven't already. I'd appreciate your support. I'm highly grateful for you watching, guys. Thanks a lot, my squad. I'm E, and this is SimplyPut Scents. And I'm Simply O-U-T. Peace. I mean, it seems as though fragrance brands are more focused on young men more and more, and you just can't get with the typical new stuff brands are releasing. But fellas, I want to share with you great fragrances that have been released recently, relatively recently, and have a classic masculine style you would appreciate. But the difference is they're just done in a more modern way.